All right, so following my defeat at the Amazon online assessment, I am thinking about how can I improve those aspects which I struggled with during the online assessment. Now, when I was thinking about, okay, what did I actually struggle with? What did I stumble on? And what threw me just mentally when I was doing that online assessment? And what I came to the conclusion of is it was the way in which the questions were asked. On Leak Code, the questions are fairly straightforward in what they are trying to get you to do. Now, how do you actually solve it? Okay, that is which algorithm to use. And then once you've decided the algorithm, you need to decide the data structures that you're going to incorporate in, all of that. That's what I had been practicing in Leak Code is how to get the algorithms and the data structures and solve the question. But normally I could understand what the question was. During the online assessment, I couldn't even figure out what the question was. And that definitely, at first, I was just like, I shell shocked because I was thinking, am I that bad at leak code or these type of problems? But then I started realizing after I analyzed it a little bit, no, hold on. I didn't struggle with solving the question. I couldn't even get to the solving question part. So I don't know about that. I wasn't able to even get to the problem solving part. I need to figure out, okay, well, now how do I get practice understanding how the question is even asked? And I went to HackerRank in the last video, and we found this website, and it is fairly, or this is the type of questions that are much more difficult to understand. It's not straightforward. It's not just they give you a very simple description, and now the complex part is figuring out how to solve it. This one, this hacker rank, the questions, yeah, are very convoluted and more of a situational story, long-winded, and it's up to you to try to figure out like what do you even need to do. So that's wonderful news because that means that we now have a direction by which we can move forward and a direction by which we can practice and improve ourselves. So in the last video, I kind of went around HackerRank and started getting a feel like, okay, well, is this the correct website to be using? And I think it is. Now, just continuing today. They want to upsell you on some course right here, but we can just go to like algorithms and this should work. We solved those in the last video. Let's try this one, a very big sum. Now, what you'll notice is, I remember in the previous two, those questions were actually really easy to solve. But understanding exactly what you were supposed to do, that was the difficult part. So, understanding what the problem is even asking versus solving the problem. I realized that these are two kind of separate things. And because I was unable to do the understanding of the problem, it just got me really like that kind of feeling. But then once I realized that actually they're kind of two separate things. Okay, well, now that we've figured out more information about this and it's easier to move forward. All right, so let's just practice. In this challenge, you need to calculate and print the sum of elements in an array, considering that some integers may be very large. Okay, so first thing is, what do I need to do? Calculate and print the sum of elements in an array. So I'm guessing that I just need to, I'll take an array and it's going to be an integer array. I sum up each of the elements in that array and then print that sum value. Okay. Then it says, considering that some integers may be very large. Okay, well, first off, what does very large mean? Does it mean that I'm going to have some kind of like overflow condition? And in Python, like, is that even a problem? Can I just do print sum of array? Can I just do that? And it's supposed to return something. Okay. So return sum of array. All right. Complete a very big sum function with the following parameters. Okay, int array here, an array of integers. Return long, the sum of the array elements. Okay, that's what I have. The first line of the input consists of an integer n. The next line contains in space separated integers contained in the array. What? See, so this doesn't make any sense at all right there. I have no idea what it's talking about. Okay. Output, return the integer sum of the elements of the array. Each element in the array is going to be between 0 and 10 to the 10, so something, yeah, really big. The range of a 32-bit integer is 2 to the 31st, okay? When we add several integer values, the resulting sum might exceed the above range. You might need to use long int in C, C++, Java to store each sum. So that's why I said, like, do I care about this in Python? I'm not sure. What if I just did run code? You have passed the... Did it work, or I don't know. Congratulations. Okay. The first line of the input consists of an integer n. So the point of this is not to actually solve the question. The point of this is to kind of get more practice understanding these questions. What does this mean? The first line of the input. Of what input? Of the array? Of this? Of an integer n, where n is between 1 and 10. Okay. Okay, and n is here, is the number of elements in the array. Okay, so there's at most 10 elements in the array. The first line of the input. The next line contains in space separated integers contained in the array. So maybe it's here, like this file, taking the input, getting it, it's array count. Oh, so we have access to array count here. I see. That's what this is. So there's five, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 integers in our file, or in the array that we're going to be giving. So that's here. And then we actually give the 5 right there. Okay, so now the next line, meaning here, contains in space separated integers. Contained in the array. Okay, so at first I was saying that this was like binary, but then obviously it's not binary because we have a 2, we have a 3, we have a 4, and we have a 5. So each of these are just one element inside the array. So the first element at index 0 is going to be whatever, like 10,000,001. This one's going to be 10,000,002, 10,000,003, etc. So that's what this is talking about. And then we will split input. So I think we're casting it as a list, which is an array. And then somewhere in here, we are just splitting it based off of the space right there. And each space, it's going to be its own element. Then we pass it into here, and then from that, I'm able to just return the sum, and then that gets printed to the file. Okay, I see. Next challenge. Given a square matrix, okay, calculate the absolute difference between the sums of its diagonal. For example, the square matrix array is shown below, okay? We want to calculate 1, 5, and 9, and 3, 5, and 9, okay? And then their absolute difference is going to be this 15 minus 17. Absolute value is 2. Okay. So function description, complete the diagonal difference function with the following parameters. Int array nm, a two-dimensional array of integers, okay? Return an integer, the absolute difference in sums along the diagonal, okay? Now input field. See, now that I'm starting to read these questions more and more, I'm understanding, okay, input field, it's going to be some file. I'm going to take in this file, and this file is going to be formatted in a specific way, and then that formatting is going to be processed in this section, and then it's going to be passing that into the function that I need to write the code. See, now I'm starting to understand the structure of things, which is what I was having a problem with during the online assessment. I didn't understand the process, not process, but like structure of the problem. So I might have been able to, maybe I might or might not have been able to solve the problem, but I was just thrown because I didn't know. I can't even think though right now, apparently. Need more coffee. Okay. So, complete the diagonal difference function with the following parameter. Yeah, returns an int. Yeah. The first line contains a single integer n, the number of rows and columns in the square matrix. Okay, so the first thing in our file is going to be some number. Like this one is going to be 3. And that's because it's a 3 by 3. 3 by 3. Yep. Each of the next n lines describes a row array and consists of n space-separated integers. Okay, and then we have this line right here. So I actually do want to investigate this a little bit more. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to go Control Delete in Linux, OB. Oh, okay. I remember. So can you explain this line of code? Okay. Yeah. Let's just do that. Okay. So that line is a compact way of reading a line of space-separated integers. So we already know kind of what it's doing, but I want to know like each of those things. Like what is map? Why do we put int right here? And then input dot rstrip dot split. What do each of those things mean? Okay. So map input reads a line of text from the user. Okay. So that is going to be so one line. Okay, so it gets one line. So it's getting this first line from our file. Awesome. And then storing it at n. Now it does something called stripping. I don't know, is this a char or is it an int at that point? Oh, we cast it as an int. Okay, so obviously, or apparently, this line right here will grab the input as a character or a string, and then it's up to us to cast it as an int. Awesome. All right. So rstrips removes any trailing white space or new line characters from the input. Okay, so we just get that line. Split splits the cleaned string into a list of substrings based on spaces. So split is just default spaces. So split is default to spaces. Could we have something that does it based on commas? Because I remember we did something like whatever, what was it? Dot join, and then you put the input in. I forget what it is. That'll be my next question. I remember something of dot join, but can't remember how exactly to use it. Okay, number 3. How about just dot strip? what does this do? Okay. All right, so now we have an array of characters in our so this right here will go to an array of characters. This gets translated to an array of characters. Okay. Then map int converts each string to an integer. So map is each element in the list is going to be converted to an integer. Okay. And then list, we already know what that does. Yeah. Okay. So let's ask this 1, 2, 3. I noticed that all of a sudden it just keeps calling me Dawn. Like it never did that in the past, but all of a sudden Copilot just there must have been some kind of like update. All right. So split defaults into spaces. We can split by commas. Or can we split by commas? Yes, by default splits using white spaces. So spaces, tabs, new lines as the delimiter. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. So we can do this. Oh, I see. So here's kind of the format. We have the string dot split, and it will turn it into a list based off of the delimiter. Okay, but you can specify a custom delimiter like a comma. Split on comma. Okay, there we go. Join. So join is used to combine a list of strings into one string using a separator. Oh, so it's kind of the opposite way. So we have split and join, okay, which are opposites. For split, I do it on a string and pass in the parameter of the delimiter. Now, this one, I give it a delimiter and then pass in the list and it creates the string. Okay, so it's the opposite. And I can join it on a comma. Awesome. Okay, dot strip. This will removes leading and trailing white spaces. Okay. You can also strip specific characters. Oh, so I can strip these dashes away. Okay, okay. Cool, cool, cool. So now we are going to be looking at this and trying to do it. How do I want to do this? So row 0, column 0, that's going to be one of the sums. Row 1, column 1. Row 2, column 2. Okay, so on one of the diagonals, when the row is equal to the column, we want to add that. When, in this one's going to be row 0, column 2. Okay, and I know that length is 2. So this array is going to be an array of arrays. So for row index, row in enumerate array for column index item or element in row. Okay, what do I want to do? I want to say if row index is equal to column index, then we need to accumulate the sum. So diag1 plus equals element. Okay, so now we need to declare that. So diag1 equals to 0. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to find a way to map the other index or the other diagonal. So what's that going to be? That's going to be something like I am going to want, well, first off, what I can say is if not array return 0. So I know that we do have an array. And if I know that, I can say length, they just want to call it n, right? So fine, n. It's going to be there. I don't think it's going to conflict because it's a different scope. Is equal to, although I want the exact same number, that's exactly what I'm going to find. So is length of array indexed at 0. Why are you unhappy? Never used. That's none of your concern. That's not an error. Is that orange or red? I think it's I don't know. Anyways, but that's none of your concern. It's not an error. So now I need to, I need to say something like if so there has to be some pattern between this which is held constant. So I'm thinking row and it has to be going backwards. So we want the last. Initially what I was thinking is I could do if 0 is, or if row index plus column index is equal to the length, then I hit. So for example, this one is 0 plus 2, which is equal to this 2 here. But that also applies to here. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. This is 0, 0. This one is going to be 1, 1 is 2. Which I want to include it, okay? And then this one is going to be 2 as well. So it does hit all 3 of those. This one is going to be 0, 1, 2. Wait, no. This one's going to be 2 plus 2. This one's 4 right here. Oh, no. That's right, because I'm trying to go backwards. So, yeah, it targets in on here. So, actually, maybe I can do that. Like, if row index plus column index is equal to n, then I do diag2 plus equals element. Okay, now I need diag2 equals to 0, and then what I can do is, after I've summed everything up, return absolute value of diag1 plus minus, right? Yeah, minus diag2. Would it be something like this? Nope, doesn't like it. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Oh, does it want me to print it, or I don't know. No, it just wants me to return it. Oh. No, it still doesn't like it. Runtime error. Non-iterable int object. That's pretty dumb. Of me. So at least, okay, here we got the wrong answer, but at least it was like done correctly or whatever. Expected output is 15. Probably diagonal 2 is having some weird thing, I don't know. 4 and 14. So that's not right for any of them. Oh wait, no, 4, let's see. 11 plus 5 plus negative 12. Okay, yeah, there we go. and 4, 5, and 10. So that should be 19, right? Oh, is this in actually incorrect? So this is going to be the number of elements in my array, which is going to be 3. That's not what I want. So I want this minus 1. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, there we are. Cool. I've got my first star. Woohoo! Yay! Oh, that's cool. Oh, I like that. You know, when I was in school, I remember doing my assignments, and sometimes when you would submit your assignment, it gave you the confetti, and it was like, ah. And I just remember that it was a fun feeling every time you submit your assignment. Now, I like that they did this. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. Ace challenge. One of the things that I do like is that even though I'm pretty tired today, even if you're tired and you are kind of slogging through the problems, tiredly slogging through the problems is better than not slogging through them at all, right? And so even if I'm not doing a good job, I'm still learning things and I'm still moving forward. And like now, next time I do a video, okay, well, I've now improved, even though in this video I'm certainly not doing a very good job of reading all of these problems or studying or anything like that, but at least I'm studying, you know? So it's a thing of motivation that, you know, even if you're not feeling 100% up to it, doesn't matter. Like, even if you do a terrible job studying today, at least you did study today. That's kind of my thought process. Anyways, given an array of integers, okay, so we have arrays of integers. Calculate the ratio of its elements that are positive. The other thing is, like, with these questions, it's like, I'm guessing the more that I see these wordings, the easier it's going to be for me to understand it. Because, like, calculate the ratio of its elements that are positive. Okay, well, at first it didn't make sense, but now I'm thinking, like, oh, well, a number can be positive or negative. So if I have all positive numbers, what is that a ratio of? That's 100%. So I'm going to be calculating some kind of percentage based off of how many are positive and how many are negative. So kind of training my brain to take in those words and analyze it and try to figure out, oh, okay, well, actually, that's a very simple request. Just maybe when I initially looked at it and read it, I was like, what? All right. That are positive, negative, and 0. Print the decimal value of each fraction on a new line with 6 places after the decimal. Okay. Note, this challenge introduces precision problems. The test cases are scaled to 6 decimal places, though answers with absolute error up to 10 to the 4th are acceptable. Okay? So we have this, and their n is 5, 2 positive, 2 negatives, and 1 0. Their ratios are 2/5, 2/5, and 1/5. So I need to print this. Complete the plus minus fraction with the following parameters: int array of n and array of integers. So print the ratio of positive, negative, and 0 values in the array. Each value should be printed out on a separate line with 6 digits after the decimal. Okay, the function should not return a value. The first line contains an integer n. So this one is kind of similar to what we've always been seeing. Now that I've seen it multiple times, I'm just like, okay, that's just the same as we always do. So we're given this, and I have an array that I want to find the so this is taking a new line. Oh yeah, it is a new line. Okay. So now I want to find this n again is equal to the length of array, like that. Okay. And now I want to do num positive is equal to 0, num 0 is equal to 0, num negative is equal to 0 for element in array if element is greater than 0, num positive plus equals 1, elif element is equal to 0, num 0 plus equals 1, else num neg plus equals 1. Now, what do I want to do? What are my return values? Okay, so print the ratio of positive, negative, and 0 values in the array. So do I just print them? So print, and it wants what? The positive first? Positive? Okay. So num positive divided by n. Print num negative divided by n. Print num 0 divided by n. Okay. Let's see. So just okay. So we didn't need to print it to the file this time. Okay. All right. Oh, change theme. Dark mode. High contrast. I see. That's cool. Okay. I wish it would change the entire. Whew. Yeah, I don't want that. You can change it to all of those disgusting things. Oh my gosh. Normal mode. Okay. Well, there we go. What is Emacs? I've heard of that, but I don't even know what Emacs are. Okay, so apparently it just, I don't know. Anyways. All right, next challenge. So yeah, obviously this is part of warm up right now. So we're just getting a feel for things. But I think probably open a new tab. Let me check to see some of the other problems. So solve this. We're doing this one right now. And then all of these are easy, right? Guessing that, okay, oh, we have subdomains here, so we can kind of select for what we might want to look at. Like if we want graph, let's just look for graph problems. Okay. Journey to the moon, synchronous. Awesome. So we have a little bit of, oh, a little bit, oh, we have a lot. Okay, cool. So we have a lot of graph problems. We have the warm-ups. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit of a feel. Dynamic programming. I'm starting to get a feel for kind of how HackerRank works and the the website. Awesome. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break right now, and then make another video today again. So I'm gonna do multiple videos today, but just take a little bit of a break and let my brain relax a little bit, and then I'll be right back. If that is interesting to you, subscribe to this channel, and we're gonna continue with HackerRank and LeetCode and projects. We're gonna keep doing all of those. So thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant. Subscribe and goodbye.